Hey, welcome to Widowed Too Soon. This is Mark Massaro, and I am all by myself. Michelle is out of town, so I'm just testing this out, and hopefully, I'm recording right now. We'll see how this goes. Michelle usually handles all of this side of things. I just show up, and she starts pushing buttons, and I just start talking. So, either I'm sitting here talking to myself right now, which would be kind of funny too, but that would only be funny for me. So let's hope I'm recording. So I just wanted to bring you guys some content today. Just it's been very hard for Michelle and I to coordinate, and we're both kind of doing things. It's summer, and she's starting a new job as she mentioned, and my kids just restarted school again, and so, it's just been a little difficult for us to line our times up. Plus, also, probably the biggest one is we're in different time zones now. We used to both be on the West Coast of the United States, and now I'm on the East Coast of the United States. So we have a 3 hour time difference. So, and that's that's caused some confusion where we both have been sitting there waiting on the computer for the other one to show up when is actually, I mentioned to her like, hey, let's do it at noon, and you know, I meant 3 in the afternoon. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. So, anyways, somebody had reached out to us, and I'm gonna keep their info private. But it got me thinking. So this person was reaching out on behalf of her daughter, and her daughter is part of our group here, and just wanted some general information, and I'm trying to be vague on purpose, but real sweet person, and just wants the best. And so it got me thinking, like, gosh, it sure would be nice if we could tell people what we wanted them to hear, how we wanted people to like the things that we want people to understand. So I'm titling this episode "The Things We Wish People Knew," um, because it is hard, right? It's like there's so many things that you wish people understood without them having to actually experience this. And I think about that all the time. And I do have a few friends that are really really great at this. Um, my friend Chris is just a really really good friend, and he I don't know, he just like instinctively knows how to act around me. He's never been weird around me, like many others have. He never acted differently around me once Lacey died. I mean, of course, there was a lull where we didn't really know what to say to each other, but that was everybody at that point in my life. But he's never been awkward or weird. He's never said strange things or never been afraid to talk about Lacey, or just he's been really solid. Also, my friend Jeremy, and I try really hard to say Jeremy correctly, because for years I called him Jeremy, like like you get germs on your hands and you got to wash them. So he finally corrected me, and after years and years of being friends, he said it's Jeremy, and I said, yeah, that's what I'm saying, and he said, say it. And I said, Jeremy, and then he said, Jeremy. I was like, it's the same thing. We're saying the same thing. He's like, no, we're not. So finally, I understood. So now you'll hear me trying really hard to punch it, Jeremy, and that's why I say it like that. Anyways, so some of the things that we wish people knew. For me, it's interesting because it's hard to lose anybody, right? It's really hard and heartbreaking and sad and devastating in most circumstances. I have a friend who lost his daughter, and that's devastating, of course. And so, I don't want to sound like I'm trying to take anything away from that, because my heart breaks for him all the time. Whenever I think about it, my heart truly breaks for him. But the thing that I wish people really understood is how alone you are. You become so alone that like for them, it's like, yeah, we know you're alone, but like they don't process. I don't think they process it like you that person, your husband, your wife, that was the person you went to if you were having a hard day, if you were sad about something, if you didn't know what to do in this situation, you needed advice, you needed counsel. This is the person you went to. Now, at the moment of your life where you need them more than anybody or anything else, more than you've ever needed them before, they're not there. You're alone. And so it is different to be widowed than it is to lose someone. And I really want to be careful on this because I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying it. I'm not saying it's harder to be widowed. I'm saying it's different. And that is a careful distinction that I'm trying to make because I know many people who have lost loved ones that are not their spouse, and I would never try to take anything away from it being a friend, a child, a parent, any of those things. I would never try to take it away from them. That being said, it is different because if you are a husband and wife and you lose your child, you have that support from one another. You're going through it together. You're grieving the same person together. Even us in this widowed community, um, we can relate to one another a lot, but the problem is we're not grieving the same person. Um, if I'm talking to um, my girlfriend, mystery girl, about grief, um, it's of course wonderful and it's amazing to have somebody to talk to again. Um, but it's how can I say this? It's we really have to be careful to or mindful rather to truly be there for the other one. Because if she's talking about her grief, I might be tempted to relate with my own grief, um, and vice versa. So that's why I have found it, very helpful at times to talk about these things with my mother-in-law because we are grieving the same person. Um, but so, anyways, I wanted to like, that's something that like I want people to know that like it's it's very different because you lost your person that you go to, that you're the person that you trust with everything is gone. And now, there's very much this feeling of having to learn who you are again. Also, when you lose a parent or you lose a child or a friend, they don't necessarily go through that same. They're going through their own battle that they could, tell me about how hard their battle is, and I would understand, especially like for me, I can really empathize with losing a child. That's horrible. Um, and so it's not to take anything away from that, but it's very different because you're a different person now. You're not, for me it was I was Mark and Lacey. I was part of Mark and Lacey, and now it's just Mark. And that was like weird, and I was relearning everything. You have to learn everything again. You have to learn how to do life. You have to learn how to do the things with the kids that hurts. I have to learn how to be strong where she was strong. And honestly, that the reality is I just try my best, because she was so brilliant and so gifted at so many things, that I can't possibly, um, make up for what the void she left. She was just such an amazing, incredible woman, and she was so gifted and so talented. And those were her gifts. Those are not my gifts. I'm just trying my best to be that thing that my kids don't have anymore. Um, also it is different than losing someone. Um, and and also I find it interesting that some people, and I've heard more stories than have experienced this. Um, they're very uncomfortable about you dating, and you might be in the very beginning stages and not even thinking about dating again. But the reality is I can see the ages of our audience. Most of you, um, if that's your choice, but most of you will date and get married again. Of course, if that's what you want, but I just mean based off of your age, and it doesn't even have to be age. I know a guy that's 82 that lost his wife and met a lady, and it was really sweet. He called her his lady friend, and because I'm sure at 82 it feels weird to say my girlfriend. But they were talking about getting married, and unfortunately, she also passed away. Um, and so they didn't do that. But so I guess it doesn't matter what your age is, but just saying that, most of us in our 40s, 50s, even 60s are still pretty young. I mean, even in your 60s, you're very, very likely to be spending at least 20 years with somebody. That's a great chunk of time. And we don't want to spend our time alone. So, but it's interesting that when you make that decision to start dating again, so many people seem to think their opinion matters on what you should be doing, and that it's weird for them to see you with someone else. And I get it. It is weird for them to see you with someone else, but what I feel in my heart is like that should be kept to yourself, because I've been dealing with a lot of weirdness and a lot of discomfort for years. Um, and so if I've found something that makes me happy, again, after a season of darkness that, most people um, can't really wrap their head around, the darkness that you or I feel, the loneliness, the um, just the that terrible, empty, like I can't believe this is my reality feeling that just covers you and engulfs you, and just it's so overwhelming. And I know you're listening, you know what I'm talking about, that feeling of like this cannot be real. Oh my gosh, it is real, and it just hits you hard. And so we've been dealing with that. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't need to hear your opinion that this is like weird for you, because it's weird for me too. I didn't choose this. That's and I'm mostly applying. I'm just speaking generally. I haven't really experienced this, but I have, being involved in this community. I have heard many people tell me some crazy stories. That in-laws tried to take their life insurance, and um, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I'm sure with the size of the audience we have, that many of you listening have been through some of those crazy things. And so I'm, terribly sorry about that. And I know you know what I'm talking about. I know there's some people in here that really relate and understand to the like, because with the dating thing for me, it's kind of like I don't know. Like I know it's weird because I was with the same person for almost 20 years, and I was crazy in love with her, and she was everything I wanted, and then she was gone. And so you're like learning to accept that. And yeah, it's really uncomfortable for us, but like hearing kind of things by the wayside about like, oh, he shouldn't be dating, or she shouldn't be dating, or this or that, it just kind of makes me I want to like call people out on it, like from the stories I've heard. It's like I would like to talk to that person and say, okay, how long do you think that she should be grieving? How long would it, if like, what would make you comfortable? I mean, I know, let's just, she's the one that's been going through everything. She's the one that's experienced the traumatic loss and the pain of being widowed. But you, as the friend, as the bystander who wants to, point inside and say, hey, I don't think you should be doing this. I think it's too soon. We had somebody reach out and send us a message and say, if you're dating again already, then you didn't love your husband. And clearly that was addressed to Michelle because I don't have a husband. Um, but man, it took me, to be honest with you, I had some really nasty messages typed back, and I just kept deleting them and starting over until I could say something that was, that I didn't feel like a big jerk for saying. But that really upset me because what a terrible thing to say. Like, to just go out of your way to send us a message to say, like, if you're dating again, it means you didn't love your husband. Like, what a nasty, horrible thing to say to somebody who's been through this. And so it's, getting back to my point. Okay, well, how long would it be? How long should I grieve? How long would you like me to grieve before you feel more comfortable about me dating? Do you want me to be depressed and bitter and lonely and um, desperate for a better life for 5 years? Um, I would like to think that you would want me to find happiness now. Um, Anyways, I'm kind of all over the place with this because I have a lot of thoughts in my head. And so, usually I have Michelle to bounce ideas off and sort of, filter each other. So this is Mark Thoughts. Welcome to the mind of Mark. Um, it's so weird. It's so weird. And I still don't even know if I'm recording, but I'm at 16 minutes right now of not knowing if I'm doing this right, but whatever. We'll see. If anything, I'm giving myself a little therapy, talking to myself, time. So anyways, but the thing I want to stress, because you can obviously hear that this topic like agitates me, because I know of a lot of widows who've gotten a lot of flack from people who are not in their shoes, who seem to have an opinion about what they should or shouldn't be doing, or how, this is, well, that's, I would never do that. I would do this. And it's like, you don't know that. You don't know that because you didn't have your life ripped out from underneath you. So you don't know. So your opinions are irrelevant. And so you can hear, and I apologize, I don't mean to come off abrasive, but this is a sensitive subject for me because I know what it feels like, and I've seen a lot of people be very mistreated by friends and family, and for wanting to find some kind of happiness again. And it's hard. It hurts. It hurts to think that, because like in my situation, it would hurt me really bad to find out that somebody was like upset at me because I'm dating somebody, because I have a girlfriend, because I've fallen in love again. That doesn't mean that I don't still love Lacey. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't do anything to change that Lacey's gone. But these are weird thoughts because we're in a weird life. Being widowed is weird. Maybe that would have been a good, name for this podcast, Weird Widows. Well, widowed. um, but it would break my heart to know that it hurt somebody, because like I was a great husband to Lacey, and I fought hard. I fought really hard. And I mean, I would stand up and say that I went further than many husbands would. And I fought very, very hard to save my wife, and um, I proved my love. So this wasn't my choice. It wasn't what I wanted. It's now been 2 years, and I want happiness. I want my kids to have a mother. And of course, I wish Lacey could be the one to raise them. But again, these aren't my choices. And so I feel like a lot of you listening, from a lot of questions we've gotten, um, understand what I'm talking about. That, a lot of people want to weigh in on what you should or shouldn't be doing. But the main thing is, thank God they don't know, because we don't want that. I don't want anybody to have to go through this and then say, oh, like, now I see what you were talking about. Like, I don't want anybody. I'd rather I'd rather them remain ignorant than have to, and ignorant's a harsh word, but just for the sake of spinning it out, I'd rather them remain ignorant than having to feel this, having to go through this. Um, that would be very sad to watch a friend go through this as they watched me go through it. I had one of my friends said, "Man, like it's so great to see you happy again because I've seen you over the past, gosh, it's been, Lacey got diagnosed in the beginning, or not diagnosed, excuse me. She started having issues in the beginning of 2019. Um, it's now 2022. That's crazy. It's coming up on 2023. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. And since my world changed, and I want to find happiness, and I want to find love and laughter, and I'm enjoying it. I'm greatly enjoying finding an incredible, amazing, sweet woman who really, really understands um, the difficulties in this life because she's also walking it. And she's, about 4 months behind me in her grief. And we really have been an incredible blessing to one another. Um, because we both grieve the loss of our marriages and of course of our spouses, and we have that understanding that it's okay to fall in love with each other, and it takes time. It takes time to This doesn't happen overnight. I've been with her for just about 5 months now. See how mysterious she is. But it's been incredible, and it's been a huge blessing, and I've had a lot of people praying for me that I would find that. And I look forward to the day maybe I can do another one of these by myself sometime, to not, so I'm not hogging the time from Michelle. But I would love to share the incredible story about how we met, and just how much it just felt like God just brought us to each other for this season because we were the right person that each other needed. Um, I was prepared to be patient in a way that most men wouldn't be. That I was able to, well, I'll save all this stuff for another time and not get into that. But I was really the man that she needed in order to start to feel again, and she was the woman that I needed in order to start to feel again. Um, and I tried. As you know, if you've been listening for a while, I had dated somebody else for a short while, and that didn't. My heart wasn't in the right place, and I wasn't ready yet, and it just wasn't the right relationship. And but now it's very different. It's very different, and so, anyways, I just, getting back to the point that we want to show people grace. Um, we also want them. I wanted people to understand that sometimes I might want to laugh and sometimes I might want to cry. And just because I was laughing yesterday doesn't mean I won't be crying tomorrow. Um, Sorry, Michelle's not here to tell me to turn my phone down and get mad at me. So sorry about the alarm. I think it's going to go off again in a minute. Whatever. Um, so, just because I laughed yesterday, it doesn't mean I'm not going to cry tomorrow. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to laugh the next day. It doesn't mean that I'm going to laugh at your joke and not be running into a corner and crying in 5 minutes. And more so, I'm talking about, in the beginning. And for those of you in the beginning, um, I didn't like the idea that people were influencing how I thought I should feel. Sometimes I felt like people thought I should be happier. Sometimes I felt like people thought I should be more sad. And you just gotta, gosh, it's so hard, but like you have to not let that influence you. And you just have to, and that's one of those things I wish people knew, that like just whatever you feel, it's okay. And that kind of goes back to what I was sharing with the person who messaged us earlier, is the way to be there and support them support your daughter is to tell her that like whatever she feels is okay, and that if she just wants to lay in bed and cry all day, that's okay. If she wants to go take her kids out to Chuck E. Cheese, I don't know if that's a thing all over the country, or if nobody here knows what Chuck E. Cheese is. Well, I know we have quite a few listeners in California. Um, a lot of my friends actually from back home, and a lot of the ladies that went to our church. So if that's you, hello, and thanks for listening. But anyways, if you want to take your kids out to Chuck E. Cheese and laugh and watch them, jump in the ball pit or play video games or whatever, that should be okay too. And so the main thing I would want people to know is that moving forward doesn't mean moving on. It doesn't mean forgetting them. I feel like I was just talking about this. I feel like moving forward is what we're stuck with. It's a frame of mind versus uh, moving on is something you decide. Um, for instance, if you go through a breakup or you get divorced or something, you have to decide to move on, and so they're different. So it doesn't mean that we don't love our spouses anymore. I still love Lacey. I still miss Lacey, and I will, because she was an amazing woman who was very, very worthy of being loved forever. And so, anyways, that's your Mark thoughts for today. Just wanted to get something out there and just share some content with you guys. And so, Michelle, would you like to? Oh, wait, she's not here. Anyways, just picture what Michelle would say right now. Give us a little bing, 5 stars. Oh, Michelle just texted me actually. Let's see. I'm going to throw her on blast right now. I have a couple minutes. Oh, okay. Well, she's going to be home tomorrow night, so we might record again. But anyways, so yeah, just picture Michelle telling you where to find us, and widowed too soon m@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram. And then I think if I remember right, she says, and go to Apple Podcasts and give us a little bing, 5 stars, and leave us a review. Let people know that you're listening or something. I don't remember how she says it. We all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so thanks for listening, and I'm going to pray for us all. Father God, I thank you so much for helping me get through this time, and that I hope I recorded. But Lord, I just pray especially, particularly for those that are in the beginning right now, and they're just going through this funky, dark place. And I pray, Lord, that you would be there with them, and that you would carry them through, and let them see where Michelle and I are at, um, as hopefulness, and that that this isn't the rest of their life, that they are only in a season right now. And I pray that you would let them feel that this, no matter how heavy and how hard it hits, that this is a season. This is not the rest of their lives, even though it feels like that, Lord. And I pray that you would give them just a good, just hit their soul with like some hopefulness right now of like, that this is just a season. And Lord, I pray for all of us. This is such a hard walk, and I pray that you would bless us all with strength, humility, love, laughter, and joy. And I thank you so much, Lord, for the healing that you have provided to my heart. It is great. And it feels so, so great to not be in that dark, horrible, lonely place. And I just thank you for that. I thank you for your faithfulness and carrying me through. It's in Jesus' name always that we pray. Amen. Well, thank you so much for listening. And you folks are a wonderful audience. And, a lot of you have been with us for a really long time. Those of you that are new, we'd just like to welcome you. And, you can listen back to, we have about 54 or so episodes now. You can listen back anytime. And thank you so much for listening. God bless you.